Okay, I'm going to be really quick, and then I've got James Luckhoo from my community who's going to tell a really quick story. So a minute and a half maybe for me. I was born at a place called Lee Abbey in North Devon. My parents were in Christian community there. Then moved to Bath, and then moved to Scarborough in North Yorkshire, which is where my vowels come from. Grew up there, rebelled, although I had an experience when I was 7 of feeling very convicted that I should know Jesus for myself. So I went to my mum, who was the most prayerful person I knew, and said, "Mum, please, will you introduce me to Jesus?" She did. I was sat on a stool in our kitchen in Scarborough. Life moved on from there. I very much loved Jesus, but had no idea how to be a disciple. That's the language I use now. I didn't use that as a 7-year-old. My sister, when I was 11, she was 13, decided church was boring, and actually the church we went to was quite boring. So she left, which meant I left, and my parents let us leave. "This is your choice," they said to us. Then going on from there, I started to be a disciple of the world. I did things that all my friends were doing. I smoked things that all my friends were smoking. I became quite good at that kind of thing, and I dibbled and I dabbled with lots of different things. I was an entrepreneur, but in all the wrong places. Did my GCSEs. We moved from North Yorkshire to Devon, and again, my rebellion kind of continued. Skip a few years. I was 22, end of university in Sheffield, art school, photography, mostly black and white, very introspective. And I was in a very low place. I mostly lived at night, I didn't live during the day, and I was in a very depressed place. Again, language I use now that I didn't use then. And in that moment, God said to me, "Mark, come back." And I've been coming back ever since. Moving on a few years, amazing experiences. I ended up in London, part of something called Soul in the City at a church called St Barnabas, North Finchley, embraced by amazing friends in a place where I was very broken. And I was healed amazingly of so many things in a very short space of time. God was moving in me, and I realised that in that He was also moving around in people around me. Still very confused by how do I love you, Lord, and how do I actually follow you? How do I be a disciple like you're calling me to be? Ended up in a place called Harrow, working with young people, and we met a band. They turned out to be a group, an oikos of peace. Again, language I use now that I didn't use then. And we started to put on gigs with them. Suddenly 200, then 300 young people turned up at this little shack that we used to meet in. And there was something going on. There were young people beginning to identify people of peace. Again, language I use now that I didn't use then. Moving on, God called me, got ordained in the Church of England, then got married, have 2 amazing kids, now part of a very small community on a council estate in Acton in West London, trying to live out missional life, trying to witness to our neighbours who represent nearly all the corners of the world. There are 92 different first languages in our local primary school. We are in the diversity, making mistakes, but learning to move on. And James is going to tell one story.
Hey, I'll say 2 very quick things. One is that Will and I were housemates 13 years ago when I was been a Christian a couple of years after uni, and Will for a year or 2 is one of my best friends, and I think following Jesus and changing happens in friendship, and Will and I are not best friends anymore, but just seeing him, when I do see him, I remember, and Mark Bishop is one of my best friends now, so yeah, I just wanted to say thanks. So I'm not good.
Let's wrap up the wedding speeches.
I'm not going to explain the background, but about a month ago, we have a film club in a room that we rent on the community centre in the estate where we live, and there were about, it was poorly attended this time, so I think there was about maybe 8 Muslim men, neighbours of ours, between the ages of about 18 and 28, who we knew really well. Mark wasn't there. Me, amazing guy called Christian, he reminds me of a slightly younger Peter Farmer, who just rocked up on our estate. God called him, and we sort of connected.